everyone, welcome. You're watching our English news program on Somaliland National Television and I'm Waris Mohammed. These are the stories making headlines. Minister of Resettlement, Rehabilitation and Repatriation takes a supervision tour to refugee camps in Hargeisa. Director General of the Ministry of Information, Culture and National Guidance urged the citizens of Somaliland to bolster support for the ongoing civic registration and register themselves. South Korea prosecutors seek death penalty for ferry captain. Minister of Resettlement, Rehabilitation and Repatriation took a tour of several refugee camps on the outskirts of Hargeisa city.
Minister of Resettlement, Rehabilitation and Repatriation took a tour of several refugee camps on the outskirts of Hargeisa to assess the health and living conditions of people in the refugee camps. The minister, speaking after his tour to these refugee camps, stated that the people in the refugee camps are in need of assistance and urged the local and international organizations to continue providing food and humanitarian aid to these refugees to help them get out of the harsh living circumstances. The minister reiterated that his ministry will continue assessing and monitoring the situation of the less fortunate for as long as it retains composure and people in the refugee camps stand their feet. At the time the minister was taking his tour to these areas, there was humanitarian aid being supplied to the most in need people in the refugee camps. Minister of Resettlement, Relocation and Repatriation, speaking to the refugees in the camps he visited, urged them to take part in development efforts continuing across the country, pledging that the ministry will continue providing them with humanitarian aid in cooperation with the local and international organizations that help the refugees.
An event hosting a great number of Somaliland community in the UK as well as officials from different backgrounds to reveal a documentary film made by a Somalilander residing in the UK about the progress made in Somaliland was held in Bristol. This event also had in attendance officials from Bristol Local Council known as being activists for the cause of Somaliland. The young man responsible of creating this documentary, Mohammed Daoud Dahir, when asked by our reporters, stated that the main reason that made him take this initiative was that he felt an obligation to tell the world about the continuous development and the dedicated efforts of the people of Somaliland to better progress their country. Mohammed Daoud further explained that it was important to him to help the international community understand the true potentials of his people and to notice their ever-increasing enthusiasm towards building their nation and to acknowledge that fact. He eventually expressed his thankfulness to the warm welcome he received from the government and the people of Somaliland at the time while he was recording this documentary back in Somaliland, and said that without their support and kindness, this film wouldn't have been possible. A member of Somaliland diaspora residing in Bristol pointed out that it's about the time that different communities around the world realize the truth of our people and our country, that is, Somaliland, self-declared, self-efficient sovereign nation that succeeded without the support of any international country. And that gives it the right to be internationally recognized by the entire world. She continued admiring the major efforts made by our people to represent the cause of Somaliland to the rest of the world and how remarkable is the image they represent. Other members of the Somaliland community residing in Bristol urged all Somalilanders to continue making similar efforts and take Somaliland's cause everywhere they go. Director General of the Ministry of Information, Culture and National Guidance urged the citizens of Somaliland to bolster support for the ongoing civic registration and register themselves.
Director General of the Ministry of Information, Culture and National Guidance, Mohammed Ilmi Adan Ilkasa, urged the Somaliland citizens to bolster support for the ongoing civic registration and to register themselves as Somaliland citizens. The director granted an exclusive interview to SLN TV. He stated that Somaliland citizens has been taking part in development efforts in the country that led Somaliland's peace over the years. Director General of the Ministry of Information, Culture and National Guidance, stressed the importance of taking part in the ongoing civic registration and urged citizens to register themselves in the ongoing civic registration to ensure that Somaliland's quest for international recognition has been successful. Somaliland has been seeking independence over 2 decades, as the Director General stated. This ongoing process of civic registration will help force the international community to recognize Somaliland, since Somaliland's search has met the international criteria for countries seeking recognition.
You're still watching our English news program on Somaliland National Television, and now for the international headlines. South Korean prosecutors have demanded the death penalty for the captain of the ferry that capsized in April, killing more than 300 people, many of them school children. Families and friends of the victims rallied outside the courtroom, calling for the maximum possible penalty. Fighting off her tears, Lim Yong-ae, a mother of one of the young victims, said, "As a parent, I have to know the truth about why my child died. To appease my child's unfair death by revealing the truth, we parents want these crew members to get the maximum punishment." The Seoul ferry sank on a routine voyage on April 16. Crew members of the trial said they thought it was the Coast Guard's job to evacuate passengers. The disaster sparked nationwide mourning and criticism of the government's handling of the rescue operation. Though many defendants have been sentenced to death in South Korea in recent years, the last execution happened in 1997. Pro-European parties look set to dominate Ukraine's parliament after elections across most of the country on Sunday. Exit polls put President Petro Poroshenko's bloc in the lead, followed by Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk People's Front. A third pro-Western party came in third. The results of the elections bring firm victory of all democratic pro-European, pro-Ukrainian forces, and that gives us a lot of opportunities to develop, to provide the reform, said Poroshenko at a media conference. Sunday's elections took place just 8 months after the revolution that ousted former President Viktor Yanukovych. Preliminary results are expected on Monday, and Poroshenko said a coalition could be formed quickly afterwards. "We have 10 days to create a new government. I hope very much it will be the best, because no other government will be able to cope with the challenges that the country is facing today," he said. And that's all the news for now. Thanks for watching. Catch us tomorrow at the same time. Goodbye.